Hi! It's the first ever Break Free podcast. My name is Rachel, and I am the host of this podcast. And this episode will be with me. So I am going to just tell you guys a little bit about myself today. I'm going to tell you kind of how, what the mission is behind what we're doing, what these podcasts will be about. And then I'm going to go through this like I am with everybody else that I'm interviewing on this podcast and answer those same questions about what break free means to me. And we'll just, do some other fun stuff at the end. So anyway, like I said, my name is Rachel Pastor, and I am the founder of Fitness Festival Events. And I have been looking forward to starting this podcast. I was going to start this back in 2018. And that was going into our second year of the Fitness Festival. And I decided just to go head on and just concentrating on the event that we added last year, which is our Break Free event. And really just, I had that time had just created a brand new team from my first year. And so really spending that time in making sure that I had a solid team and the Fitness Festival was rocking. And so I did that. But I said, you know what? Come 2019, 2020, Break Free podcast is on, baby. And so here we are. And I could not be more excited to be on this Break Free journey with you. So who's Rachel Pastor? I think what's best is for me to tell you guys really how this mission of the Fitness Festival came about and really how I fit in with that and how my story fits in with that. And so, my transformation in my mission, my why, the mission for impacting the masses with joy came from the hardest time in my life. And, it's interesting now that it is about 15 years ago because I feel like I've gone through some, we all have big things in our lives that happen that impact us in incredible ways. And we all have a story. And I love that so much. And mine really starts in how I am led to this place at 15. And at 15, I became a heroin addict, an IV drug user, and that addiction led on for 5 years of my life. I through those 5 years lost everything in my life. And really, when I fell into that addiction, I was really searching for happiness. I was searching for the light that I saw in other people. I was searching for that for myself. I was searching for acceptance and love. And I just wanted to be fulfilled in some way. And I ended up finding it in a drug addiction and also a relationship. So, 5 years into that addiction, I'm 20 years old. And at that time, I'm homeless. I am pregnant and just so far gone from reality, from knowing myself, or everything I did as I lived for that addiction. Everything I did was for the addiction. And so anyway, at 20 years old, my boyfriend of 5 years, we met when I was 15. And at 20 years old, he passed away from a drug overdose. And in that moment, that was truly my rock bottom. We all hit rock bottoms at different places in our lives. We all hit it at a different place. And that was my rock bottom. It was in that moment, I truly didn't want to live anymore. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to live anymore. And I remember it so clearly. I was in a friend's kitchen. And, I could not stop crying. Um, and, I truly loved Matt. And it, again, it was like the last thing that I had in my life was him. And so, I hadn't talked to my family in years. I had no friendships, real friendships. And so I remember crying out to a God that I didn't even know if I believed in. I truly didn't. I didn't know if I believed in God at that time in my life. And I remember saying, please just, I just want to die. Please just take my life. I don't want to, I'm done. I'm done. Like, here, take me. And you know what? I truly feel like I was saved in that moment, because everything from that moment on, I just feel like I was, taken in my life unfolded in a way that I never could have imagined in my wildest dreams. Because at that time, I was so full of darkness, and all I could see was dark. I couldn't see any light. There was no light where I was. And I ended up selling this car that didn't even really run, and it was got $500 for it, and I bought a plane ticket to Hawaii, and I took everything I had fit in like this backpack. And I knew when I got off that plane, I knew I would never use again, and I was going to change my life. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I just knew that that's what I had to do. I wasn't going to take methadone anymore. I wasn't going to do anything. I was done. And it was my last hurrah, because if this didn't work, that was it for me. And so anyway, I got off the plane, and my life really unfolded from there, of leading me into this path. And I'm going to just cut through this story, so this podcast is not, 5 hours long. And it's actually a short podcast. Like all these podcasts that you're going to be listening to with Break Free are 15 to 20 minutes. I think some are like 25 minutes. But so anyway, I always tell people, so I am a coach. I coach people. I coach people all around the world. I coach people in transformation. And when I'm coaching people, one thing that I often talk about is that a lot of the time people think when they decide to change their life, that's it. It's going to be great from then on out, right? I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to start eating this way and working out, and I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to quit my job and go for my dream career. And, I'm going to do this, and that's amazing. And oh my God, I couldn't applaud that more. I couldn't. I love that so much. I love when people go for what they want in life. But the interesting thing is that just because you decide to change, just because you decide to change your life, doesn't mean it's going to be easy. In fact, the transformation and the change in my life that I went through was so incredibly painful. Change is often painful, but it leads to beautiful destinations. And that could not be more true of my story. So many days, my one goal was to get out of bed. My body was so destroyed from years of drug use and taking methadone, shooting up heroin for years and years. And I had no idea who I was. No idea who I was. And I didn't know what I liked to do. I didn't know who I like, I didn't know anything about myself. I didn't know what my favorite food was. I didn't know, what activities I like to do. I didn't know, who I was as a person. I was in a lot of ways, I was being born again. And so, I remember I had a friend, this is the moment. And I had a friend who asked me if I would go to 24 Hour Fitness with her. And at that time, I really was looking for people to connect with. I hadn't had healthy relationships in as long as I could remember. And I just wanted somebody to be around me, and I just wanted somebody to talk to. And so we went to 24-hour fitness, and we're walking on these treadmills. And you guys, at this time, walking on a treadmill was a big thing for me. It was a big thing for me. And I remember walking on that treadmill, and we're watching TV, and we're chatting, we're talking, and it that moment led me into finding something within myself. So we'd go back and we just walk on the treadmill, and sometimes, we try new things, and I would try like new things around the gym. I remember hiring a personal trainer just to show me like the basics around the weight room. And I remember the very first time I tried my cycling class, and the way that it felt inside the room, and the beat going, and people were so excited, and they were working together, and the way I felt, I just wanted to explode inside. And what I realized when I was driving home from there is that I was experiencing joy for the first time in my life that I could remember. I was experiencing something that I had been searching for so long. And I thought I had found it in a drug addiction. And that was joy. Like I was finding that light. I was finding things that I enjoyed to do. I was feeling the effects of the energy of being around other people, of that connection, that healthy connection with people. And it was life-changing. And I knew I started to learn who I was, what I love to do in life. And what I decided is I will bring this to other people. If I was searching for this for so long, I know I'm not alone. Other people are searching for this feeling too. And so I swore I would work in the health and fitness industry, and I was going to figure out how to do it. So anyway, cut to forward, I was asked to move back to Colorado by my grandma. I ended up moving back here, and when I got here, I said I'm going to do whatever it takes to bring this to other people. It became the mission in my life. And so what I really feel like is so important for you guys to know is, I actually was just meeting with somebody about this yesterday, and we were talking about, who is the fitness festival for? Who's the Fort Collins Fitness Festival for? Any of these large, massive events we're going to take, around the world, and who is the Break Free event for, and just kind of talking about who the Break Free and just the different elements of what we're doing. And I would tell you, like, I'm a fitness freak. I love being healthy. I've been now working in the fitness industry for 12 years, and I love, I love impacting people's lives in that way. And I also think it's just like so deep inside me now. Like I said, I coach people. I love helping people in that way. But, and so I feel like, the people who are like me are always going to gravitate towards going to the fitness festival, because we bring that to, they're going to love what we're doing automatically. I mean, we're bringing every type of health and fitness in one place, right? And no matter how you practice it, no matter how you get there, we're celebrating that. If you do boxing, yoga, cycling, if you do acupuncture, chiropractic, floating, like it doesn't matter. No matter how you practice it, we're coming to celebrate it. And anybody that's into that in their lives is going to automatically be attracted to what we're doing. But what is so interesting is that that's not all who it's for. And I really want you guys to hear that from my story, is that this is for anybody and everybody. This dream, this vision was born from wanting to bring this to people's lives who don't even know it yet, who don't even know, who haven't found excitement in fitness yet, who maybe don't know, maybe you don't feel like you fit in at the gym. You don't feel like you know what to do and where to go for, feeling better, or should you, like, you've never tried chiropractic. You don't really know much about it. You've thought about trying a boxing class, but you feel too intimidated to go, or you're not sure if it's right for you, or you're worried about people judging you if when you walk through that door, because you don't know what to do. Holy crap, you guys, like, listen up. I say this, if that is you right now listening, being like, or somebody like that, right? I get that. I have been there. I bring this to you. My whole mission is to bring this joy to anybody and everybody. Even if the people that have already found it and they know it and they know what they love to do, and they know they love health, and they know they love fitness, and they know they love to take care of yourself. Yes, this is for you, but this is also for the person who isn't feeling great right now, who's struggling, who just wants to feel good and doesn't know how to find it. This is for you. And so, as we're talking about that, and I was telling them my story, they're like, man, you got to share that. And I have shared it on some other podcasts. I'm pretty open about my story. But I haven't really shared that part of, like, who this is for, and really, my heart. So there you have it. Like, I want you all to come and know that, like, when I was 80 pounds heavier, I get it. I felt very, like I didn't fit in at the gym. I wouldn't know what to do. And I wanted to try those things, but I was too intimidated and fearful to go. That's why I'm so grateful that my friend invited me to the gym. And if you need a friend to go to the fitness festival with, call me up. I am your friend. We will go together. I don't care what you weigh. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what you've done in your life. Mistakes you've made. What color your skin is. I don't care. I just want you to feel better. I just want you to feel this joy. So, there you have it. There's your Rachel Pastor. That's part of my story. I'll probably do another podcast later on. A lot of these podcasts are me interviewing other people and them sharing with you what break free means to them, and how they bring that to other people's lives. Because you know what, you guys, there are so many other people out there like me, and that's why the fitness festival has blown up like it has, is because when I went out there with this mission, everybody who heard it, when I walked into Orange Theory, when I walked into, this club, that club, this nutrition store, when I told them the mission and what I was bringing to other people, do you know what they said? Me too. Me too. People who work in this industry, people who do, we're all the same thing, you guys. We want to help people. We want to help people feel better. We want to help people. We want to bring that joy to others. And so I'm interviewing those people on this podcast, and I want to hear from them. What's their story? We'll spend about 10 minutes or so hearing their story, and then asking them, what does break free mean to you? And then the really cool part is that you're going to leave every single one of these podcasts with something to how to implement what the message they're bringing, how to implement it into your life. So I've asked every single one of them to bring tools to this podcast that they can share with you, that you can use to implement into your life to bring this joy, whatever joy they're bringing, how you can bring that into your life, right? Whatever break free means to them, how you can bring that into your life, right? So we're not only bringing the joy through our events now, we're bringing joy through podcasts, through communities. We have the Break Free community. If you're not a part of that yet, I really encourage you to join the Break Free community. This is about bringing this mission to people year round. And so I'm asking other people, what does break free mean to you? I'm going to ask same of me. So what does break free mean to me? Break free means to me, break free. You're going to hear me say it a lot. I say there's break free into and break free from. And the most powerful thing that I really feel, oh man, there's so many of them, but break free to me is really breaking free of fear, breaking free of limitations, and breaking free into knowing that you are capable of anything in this life that you put your mind to. And it is available to all of us. I am not special. I'm not. I am no better than you. And I am a true believer that you can have anything in this life that you want, that you go for. What holds us all back is fear, right? Fear that we're not capable, that we're not worth it, that fear that we'll never have that, fear, right? And I don't believe that. I believe in fear. And it's really funny that I just said fear, because anybody that knows me knows I'm a cusser. And this is my podcast. So I'm going to say what I want to say. And so I'm going to say fuck fear. Seriously. If I can teach people to break free of fear and live the life of their dreams, no matter where you're sitting right now, if you were sitting right now homeless on a corner listening to this, or at the most broken place in your life, or you just lost everything financially or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're sitting in a job you hate and you want to do something else, I'm a true believer that you can do and have whatever you want in this life. It is inside all of us. It's just learning how to tap into it. It's learning how to look fear in the face and do it anyway. I think I'm famous for saying that. Do it anyway. Client calls me up. Rachel, da-da-da-da-da. I can't do this, da-da-da. I don't want to do this, da-da-da. Listen. Thank you for sharing that with me. Do it anyway. That's how you're going to get where you want to go in life. So that's what break free means to me. But let me tell you something so amazing. Break free means something different to everybody that I ask. It's pretty incredible, in fact. And that's what break free means to me right now. When I originally came up with break free, and it was break free of judgment is how I felt. I was really at that point breaking free of judgment in my life. I was scared to be who I really, I not just scared, I was scared of judgment. I was fearful, you guys. I was fearful of judgment, of what other people thought of me, or how they perceived me, or if I said a cuss word, or if I did that, or if if I was too strong of a personality, or all these things. I was so scared of judgment around every single corner. And then I broke free of that. I cut the fear and I decided to just be who I am, and, and love myself for who I am and be okay with that. So, anyway, that's break free. And I already talked about how I bring the joy into people's lives, and how that's really my mission. And typically that's my next question to people is like, how do you bring joy? And, but I really feel like I already answered that. And so I'm just going to do something fun to end this first podcast. Well, I also want to give you some tools to use in your life. So like I ask everybody else to do, I want this podcast to be this first podcast to be the same that I ask of every guest that I have on here. And so I'm going to give you some tools, and then we'll do the quick 3 questions that, they're kind of different that I ask everybody, but I'm going to do my favorite book, my favorite quote, and my favorite podcast. But my tips for you on what I was talking about is breaking free of fear, and a couple, what you could utilize in your life right now if you're letting fear hold you back in some way. And so my tip for you would be, if you have something really, really fearful in your life that you're letting hold you back from doing something. Maybe it's the dream job you've always wanted. Maybe it's starting that business. Maybe it's, maybe it's going full out in your transformation, and maybe it's stepping into that gym. Maybe it's trying a new workout. Maybe it's calling up a friend or somebody that you would enjoy to have in your life, and asking them if they want to meet for a cup of coffee, right? And the fear of not knowing what they'd say if they're willing to, or whatever. There's so many things. Fear can live in anything, really. And so my encouragement to you would be to write that down. I'm huge into writing things down. And the reason I'm big into writing things down is because I truly believe it really puts it out there that you know it, and it takes away its power. So whatever that is, I want you to write that down. And then I want you to write down what's the worst that could happen, and what is the best that could happen. And I can guarantee you that a lot of what you're creating in your head out of the fear, I want you to ask yourself when you're reading those and reading through what you wrote, is it true? Right? So when you write down what's the worst that could happen, is it true? And you're going to answer no to every single one of those, because everything is an assumption. That's what fear is. Fear is false evidence appearing real. So I'm asking you to call out the false evidence. It's appearing to be real, but it's false, and it's assumptions. So if it's not a fact, that's what I meant by true. If it's not a fact, then it's not true. Then no, then it can't be real, right? So you can't let that hold you back, because it's not real. It's not real. It's not facts. It's not true. Right? And squash every single one of those reasons that live inside that fear, and write it down and do it. It is such an empowering exercise. to be able to look fear in the face. And that's you writing it down and calling out what is true and what is real, and knowing that that fear of whatever you want is not real. Therefore, there should be nothing holding you back from going for whatever it is that you want. So that's my tip for you. Again, I would love to come back and do another solo podcast later on, and dive more into more things that I'd love to share with you. Okay, so my favorite book is Super Attractor. I'm a huge Gabby Bernstein fan. I have read her books. The first book that I read of hers, I read it during the first year of the fitness festival. And it was so good for me. It was exactly what I needed to hear at that time. And I read it multiple times. And one thing that I got from that book was ask for a sign. She also talks about that in her new book, Super Attractor. And she talks about the sign. Well, I have a tattoo on my back that has to do with that sign that I asked for about doing the fitness festival. And anyway, very powerful book. And it's a lot about manifestation and guidance and beliefs and trusting that you're right where you should be, and that, there's something so much greater than ourselves. And so anyway, Gabby Bernstein. And Gabby, I doubt you're listening to this. Who knows? Anything could happen, you guys. Gabby, if you are listening to this, I'm such a huge fan, and I would love to have you at a Break Free event. Putting that out there, manifesting that. And then my favorite quote is, I didn't come this far to just come this far. I didn't come this far just to come this far. I feel like that's so, that's me. I also have it tattooed on me, love, iron sharpens iron. And I'm just such a true believer in that. And then my favorite podcast. Well, I also have another podcast that I really enjoy. I do it with my friend Bruce Pitcher. And it's called Pumped on Life. So I really like that podcast, but that's not fair. I have so many other podcasts that I listen to. I really like John Maxwell. I'm a huge John Maxwell fan. And so, and he has a lot of great stuff on leadership. And that really was a mission of mine this past year, is to become a strong leader. And so, John Maxwell. All right, guys, thanks for listening to this first Break Free podcast. And I'm so excited for what's to come. Keep listening. I have the most incredible guests that are joining, and so much more to share with you. So thanks for listening. This was probably the longest podcast that I have. Like I said, we're keeping them shorter, but this is the kickoff, and I wanted to share my story and my mission with you all. And again, I appreciate you guys listening. And we will meet soon in the Break Free community at one of the events. If you ever see me, please stop me and say hello. Thanks for joining. Thank you for listening to the Break Free podcast by Fitness Festival Events. You can find our website at fitnessfestivalevents.com, where you can learn more about the events we have coming up, our Break Free community, and much more. For Instagram and Facebook, find us at Fitness Festival Events, or for our community, Break Free Community. For Rachel, you can find her on Instagram at rachel.pastor. And email rachel@fitnessfestivalevents.com.